welcome. Good afternoon, or depending on what part of the world you're in. If you have any questions during the presentation today, there is a chat window in your Ring Central toolbar. Go ahead, enter any question you have. We'll have a Q&A at the end. Welcome to Training Bytes. My name is Gina Thomas. I'm the training manager at C&K Systems and your hostess for Training Bytes, a digestible approach to counterpoint training. So summer is winding down. Our fall goods are rolling in, our winter goods are rolling in. So it's typically around this time of the year we're marking down our summer goods because it's just time to get rid of them. They're not going to sell in the winter. Most of you know that you can go directly to the item record and you can edit the price one field. And that's all well and fine if you just have a handful of items to mark down. But if you have hundreds and hundreds of items to mark down, this is too time consuming and not practical. So that's why we're going to talk about price sheets today. I am going to show you some tips and tricks for manual markdowns, just in case you have that situation where there's just a handful. But then I'm also going to show you how to make price sheets. And this is to do bulk markdowns. I want to mark down hundreds of items at once. And then I'm also going to show you how to print labels, if you care to, from your marked down items, and how to look at your historical price sheets. You can reference back to them once they've been implemented. So for manual markdowns, where you're just editing the price one, and there's just a handful of items, this is what I would do. I would go to inventory items, or you can go to inventory prices and item prices. That's what this is a screenshot of. Now, in either area, I would click on table view, and then right here, I can just go down this price one column and just change my prices. You can even copy paste, but not everybody changes their prices to the same value. But if you did, you could copy paste. When it comes to price sheet, there are some basics. It's for bulk markdowns or markups, because some people in the denim business have to mark up. You can modify your price level 1, 2, or 3. Most people only use price 1, but I do have a handful of clients that use the other 2 price levels as well. People who have like wholesale customers, they might use price level 2 for wholesale customers. You can set prices to be a specific amount, which is not that practical. You can base your markdown or markup on margin, but that's not practical if you're not realistic about your margin categories. So something that's a little more practical that most people will use in a price sheet is to either increase or decrease by percentages or amounts. And we'll take a look at all of that today. To locate a price sheet, it's inventory, prices, price sheet. The first thing you need to do is on the price sheet ID line is enter a name. This is limited to 10 characters, so you might have to abbreviate. But once you press enter, you can populate the description, which is 30 characters. So if you had to abbreviate, you can spell it out in the description. You do have to populate the description because it's a required field. If you have advanced pricing, I don't have that many people that have advanced pricing, but they're out there. If you have advanced pricing, once you populate the name and the description, you'll need to click on Get Items to go to the next step. If you don't have advanced pricing, once you enter the description and press Enter, you will go to the next step, which is a filter. So I'm going to just get the next slide. This is what the filter looks like. Again, Get Items for advanced pricing people, Enter for non-advanced pricing people. This is where you filter for items. And by the way, advanced pricing, I'll just mention it here because somebody might be saying, wow, what's this advanced pricing? Advanced pricing is something you buy separately. It is a counterpoint feature. It allows you to have different retail prices at different stores. So that's real handy. If you have stores and, a store where the real estate is not so expensive, but another store where the real estate is much more expensive, you can charge a higher price at that store for your retail merchandise. The other thing that advanced pricing allows you to do is it allows you to have different prices on different sizes within a grid. So for those of you that sell apparel, You know that when you make a gridded item without advanced pricing, that every member of that style has to be the same retail. So if you have extra, extra large, it's still going to be the same price as the medium or small, or it's going to be a standalone SKU. Well, advanced pricing, you don't have to do that. With advanced pricing, you can make higher prices for your larger sizes. But back to the filter for items. So I go to the next step, which is filtering for items. This filter, like any other filter in Counterpoint, can be customized. Right click Customize. Perhaps you want to filter on an attribute or a profile field. All you have to do is customize the filter. Once you're done defining criteria in the filter, for me it's apparel, you're going to come down here to Get Items. Now that's just going to take you to a list of the filtered items so you can review it. You can click on Get Items to see that list, or you can click on Items List to see the list. Doesn't matter which one you choose. This is what the list looks like. And by default, nothing is selected. So you're going to have to either manually select them by clicking on these check marks here, or if you just want to select them all, this little box will select everything. And then when you're done, you're going to add these items to the price sheet. Now, if it turns out that you don't want some of the items on this list when you were reviewing, you can deselect the ones that you don't want. So first you would come here and select everything, and then uncheck what you don't want. Now this is the actual price sheet that you're looking at. So it's kind of like a safety net at this point. Oh, look, this is everything on the price sheet that I approved of from the review list, but I don't want the hat to go on sale. So at this point you could uncheck it. The next step, and this will only apply to your checked items, is to calculate prices. When you go to calculate prices, you're going to select a price level. Most of you use price 1. And then typically you're going to come down here and select decrease by a percentage, and then enter a percentage amount. And then when you're done, apply. Be careful with this apply button. Only press it once, like I have it underlined here on this slide. And it doesn't react. So when when you press most buttons in Counterpoint, you see kind of a reaction. This button doesn't react. So it doesn't look like it's working, and you might be tempted to click on it a second time, which in newer versions of Counterpoint isn't going to bother anything. But in older versions of Counterpoint, it's going to apply another discount. So if you hit apply once, the discount get applies. You hit apply a second time, it's going to get a discount a second time. If that happens, just exit from the price sheet and start over. Just don't save anything. Or if you saved it, delete it. Okay. When you're done marking down, and you can see this price 1 field shows the calculation. You can save the price sheet and implement it later, or you can implement it right away. I do want to point something out to you on this slide. Regular price and price 1. If you've ever worked with me, I usually make a big deal about saying when you're building a new item, copy your price 1 down to the regular price, because it's going to come in handy in the future for markdowns. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. So a limitation after you calculate, you don't know what this was before you did the calculation. However, had you populated regular price, you would know what it was before this calculation. So a good argument for populating regular price when you're building new items. Before you implement the price sheet, if you want to print price tags, you're going to have to check a control to make sure you can do that. So the control I want you to check, if you do want to print price tags, most people when they do a markdown, they just redline through their existing labels. They cross out the price on the label and handwrite, the sale price in red. But if you actually want to print labels, you'll need to go to Setup, Inventory, Control. You'll click on the Label tab, and then you'll look down here to Price Sheet Tag Method, and you can just select Create Tags for later printing or Print Automatically. But do choose something other than, I think the default is skip. So don't choose skip, or I think do not create might be the default. We'll take a look at it. When you're ready to implement the price sheet, you have to physically touch the price sheet. In other words, there's no mechanism to set a date for Counterpoint to go ahead and implement the price sheet, which, seems kind of silly, but that's just the way it's designed right now. So it's the day the markdown is going to take effect. You go back to inventory, prices, price sheet. You can use your black arrows to find the price sheet. You can use your lookup in case you have more than one. Once you find the price sheet, you have to reselect the items that are going to apply with this box. And same rules, you can unselect items that you've changed your mind about. And then when you're all finished, you're going to apply price changes. If you do want to print labels, you'll need to go to, depending on how you set that control. If you set it the way I have it set, which is save it for printing later, you go to inventory and labels from tags. Now, a lot of people don't know about labels from tags, but labels from tags is a pretty nice feature. Depending on how your controls are set, every time you post a purchasing document, a receiving document, a transfer document, or a price sheet, a copy of that document gets stashed here so you can come back later and print labels from it. All you have to do is use this event number lookup to find the document you need labels for and print. If you want to look at the history of your price sheets, there's no report, so to speak, on price sheets, but the actual price sheet is saved in history, so you can review it. And that's under Inventory, Prices, Historical Price Sheet. A very appropriate name. You can also run a markdown report. If you do manual markdowns by editing the price one, or you use a price sheet, both methods are going to show up in this markdown report. And that's under Inventory, Reports, Markdowns Report. And we're going to look at all of this right now. So I'm just going to minimize the PowerPoint presentation, open up Counterpoint, and we'll get to work here. So the first thing I want to talk about are tips and tricks for manually editing price one. And again, that's practical if there's just a handful of items. So the way I like to do it is just to go to Inventory and then Items, come to the table view, filter for the items you want to mark down so you're not looking at hundreds of lines of inventory. So I'm just going to come up here to the filter. I'm going to filter for my apparel category and click OK. So now I can just edit price one right here. There's price one. I can just edit it. This is a nice feature of table view. You can actually edit many fields in the table view as long as it's not protected. You can't edit your item number because that's protected, but you certainly can edit descriptions, prices, item categories, subcategories, vendors. Now you can also copy and paste in table view. So if for some reason I wanted multiple items to be 2160, I could actually right click on this and copy it, and then click in another field and paste. But I'm not going to change it. If I want to do a bulk copy paste because I want everything to be 2160, you can do that as well in table view. The bulk copy and paste in Counterpoint is a bit backwards. So the way it works in Counterpoint is you start with what you want to change and you end with what you want to change it to. So in this example, I want everything to be 2160. So I'm going to start here at the bottom. I'm going to hold down my Shift key. I'm going to up arrow. I'm going to stop at what I want to change it to, which is 2160 for everything. Then I'm going to come up here and I'm going to right click and copy values. And that will copy that 2160 down to all these items. So let's just go ahead and do it. Gives me a warning. Are you sure? Yes, I am. And now everything's 2160. So that's bulk copy paste. Any table view anywhere in Counterpoint practically. The other way to edit that price one field is through item prices. I don't like this as much as the items itself, and you're going to see why in a minute. So I'm going to go to item prices, but if you like it, you're welcome to use it. Again, I'm going to go to table view, and here I can go ahead and edit the price one, just like I did in the item record. The advantage of this particular module is that if you are using more than one price level, you can edit your price 2 and your price 3 here as well. You can't do that through the item record table view. You can do it through the item record, it's just a lot more steps. So this is the easier way if you're managing multiple price levels. But here's what I don't like about this is that it's very limited in what it's displaying on this screen. Like it's only capable of like item number, location, and price related values. So you can't even go into the column designer and add things like description or category or subcategory. They're simply not available. But nothing wrong with editing here. Same rules apply. You can copy paste and you can bulk copy paste. But let's go to the price sheet. So the price sheet is inventory, prices, that's where item prices is, and it's where your price sheets are. So the first thing you're going to want to do, let me make this a little more no, I'll make it bigger. The first thing you want to do is come up here to where it says price sheet ID and type in your price sheet name. So we'll just call this fall sale. You know what? I already had a fall sale. Let's call this winter sale. Let's call it summer sale. Now I'm limited to 10 characters, so you can see it cut me off right there. So I'll just make it summer. But now when I press my enter key, I can make the description summer sale. Now, if I had advanced pricing, mine is turned off right now, but if it were turned on, this field would be open. And so if you have advanced pricing and you want to affect a markdown for all your stores, leave it at all. If you just want to affect a specific location, you would choose that specific location or a location group. These are your regions. And then just click on Get Items. But I'm just going to press my Enter key. Enter. There's my filter. And again, it's a filter. And any filter anywhere in Counterpoint, if you need to filter by something that you don't see on this screen, it's right-click, Customize, click here to add a condition. And remember, Counterpoint's not psychic. Doesn't know what you want. So it's just going to bring over, whoops, click here. It's going to bring over the next field that it sees. So if this is not the field you need, don't keep clicking. Just click right on this field in red and you'll get a list of all the fields that are available to search. And then once you find it, go ahead. You can put criteria in here, but it's kind of clunky. So usually what I do is I right-click and simplify, and then I put in my criteria. All right, for today, we are going to mark down the apparel department. So I'm going to come into this filter. I'm going to choose apparel. And then I can click on Get Items to see my list of items that the filter is going to return. Or I can click on Items List up here. It doesn't matter which one you do. I'm just going to click on Get Items. Okay, so here's a list for me to review of all the items the filter found. So if I want to mark everything down or add everything to the price sheet, it's going to be this check mark here. That adds everything. Then I can deselect what I don't want going on the price sheet. So I'm going to select everything and I'm going to take off my 18 holes because that's really a service, not apparel. Right. Now I'm going to come down here and add these items that I've selected to the price sheet. And there they are. Now I'm ready to calculate prices. If I want, instead of calculating prices, I could just edit these fields manually, but there's no point. That's why we're using the price sheet, because there's too many to edit manually. But if you want to do that, that's fine. Now I'm going to come down here to calculate prices. And you can see here, I can set all these different prices. Typically, it's just going to be price 1. To set amount makes no sense to me unless I really did want to make everything $10 instead of $21.60. So I could say set them all to $10. The set to margin, I was working with this a little earlier and I could not get it to work, so I still have to play with that. But if you're not using margins, this isn't going to work. Here's what people mostly use. So they either increase or decrease. Typically, it's a decrease. By an amount or a percentage. Typically, it's a percentage. I'm going to discount mine by 25. Now, this piece down here are for those of you that may be using price level 2 and 3 and you want to populate them. So you would have to set price, level 2. Then you could leverage this down here and say, base my price 2 on my price 1, but increase it or decrease it by an amount or a percentage. So I'm just going to say, just in case I have a price level 2 or 3 person out here. So I want to update price level 2 by a percentage. I'm going to increase by 25%, and then I'm going to go ahead and preview it and apply it. So then you can see it's mad because Counterpoint gets mad when price 1 is lower than price 2. It doesn't break anything, it just gets mad about it. All right, but I do want to discount my price 1 by 10%. So you can see here on one worksheet, I can update any prices I want to, price 1, 2, or 3, which is pretty nice. So I'm going to decrease by percentage, 25%. I'm going to go ahead and apply. And then you can see back here how it changed. And again, this is another reason why I'm so adamant about setting that regular price, because you don't see what this was before you hit apply. But if you had the regular price, you would be able to, determine what it was before you did the discount. Now I've been discounting a bunch of stuff today, so this regular price isn't working for me because I'm on my third markdown. If I hit apply a second time in this version, and this is the latest 856.8. Most of you have 856. So if I click on apply, it does give me a warning, and it even tells me it's going to overwrite them, and I'll just say yes, but it doesn't. Right. In older versions of Counterpoint, like your 852s, 850s, if you do the apply a second time, it's going to apply the discount a second time. So now I'm just going to close. Okay, so now I'm done. My price sheet is all ready to go. I'm not ready to implement it yet, so I'm just going to go ahead and save. And again, the bummer is that there's no mechanism in the price sheet to say, Counterpoint, implement this price sheet on Saturday. You physically have to come back and touch it. But in the meantime, before we implement, we want to make sure, because we do want to print labels, at least I do, so we want to make sure our controls are set properly so we can actually print labels once we apply or implement the price sheet. So we're going to go to Setup, Inventory, Control, and labels right there. So you can see this, if I have all these set down here, transfer out tag method, transfer in, quick transfer, etc., 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 your choices are create tags for later printing. The default is do not create. So create tags for later printing, meaning just take a copy of this document that I posted and stash it under labels for tags. Prompt user to print. As soon as I post or update, I'm going to be prompted to print labels, but a copy of that posted document will also move over to labels from tags. Ditto with print automatically. As soon as I post or update, I'm going to get my tags printed automatically, and a copy of that posted document will move over to labels from tags. So that's the transfer end and the price sheet end of making sure you got a copy of those documents that are posted in labels from tags. There's another control for it, and it's under purchasing. So Setup, Purchasing, Purchasing Control, Labels, and here are the ones so that every time you post a purchase order, a copy goes over to labels from tags. Same with receiving and quick receiving. I'm going to show you what that looks like. So I'm going to go home. I'm always surprised at people that don't know about this. I'm going to go to Inventory. Here's labels from tags. That button should probably say, uh, posted transactions you may want to print labels from. That's what it should say. Item labels is just to print random labels for single items or a grouping of items from your inventory. But this is to print labels from actual posted documents, purchasing, receiving, transfers, price sheets. So I'm going to click on this. I'm going to go to in the event lookup, and here are all my posted documents for 2021. So if I wanted to print something from my price sheet that I implemented earlier, I would just select this, OK, and then go ahead and print tags. So now that I've made sure that my controls are set, I'm ready to implement my price sheet. So I'm going to go to Inventory, and I'm going to go to Prices, and I'm going to go to Price Sheet. Now there's no table view here, so you can flip through them one at a time using your black arrows. But if you've got a lot of unapplied price sheets, you might be doing that for a while. You can also go into this lookup here. I only have the one, my summer sale. Now here's the silliness about this. When I recall the price sheet, I still have to reselect the items that I want Counterpoint to put on sale. So you could kind of think of it as a safety net. In between the time you built the price sheet and the time you're ready to implement the price sheet, you change your mind about putting the hat on sale. So you could select everything and then uncheck the hat. So when we're actually ready, we're going to come all the way down here to the bottom, and we're going to apply price changes. Just say yes. And now our prices have been implemented. So another limitation besides the fact that there's no mechanism to auto implement the price sheet is when it comes to printing those price tags, you can't print those price tags beforehand. You can only print them once the price sheet has been applied. And then, I hear all the groaning in the audience now. So if you did want to print labels, I recommend just redlining them, but that's up to you. So if you did want to print labels, it's Inventory, Labels from Tags. I'll go into my event lookup. I'm just going to scroll all the way to the bottom because that's where the most recent one is. There it is. And now I can print my tags. If I want to look at old price sheets that I've implemented in the past, so when you apply your price sheet, it moves to a new neighborhood. It moves to the historic neighborhood. So I'm just going to go to Inventory, Prices, Historical Price Sheet right here. And again, there's no table view. So if you do need to see a list, you can come into the lookup right here. There's a list. Here's my summer sale. Or you can just flip through them. Okay, so that's how you look at your old price sheets. No formal report. Then I also mentioned a markdown report. And the markdown report includes items that you have manually changed the price one or items that were marked down due to a price sheet. Unfortunately, there isn't anything on the report that distinguishes between the two, which is just silliness. But anyways, Inventory, Reports, Markdown Report is right here. I'm just going to click on that. Now, if I leave this date field blank, I'm going to get every markdown from the dawn of time. So if you don't want that, we need to fix this. So this element is actually not a very good choice because it's basically saying the markdown date is exactly on this particular day. Maybe you were doing markdowns the entire month of August and you just want to see everything in August. You're going to need to customize this filter. So again, it's right click, Customize, and instead of markdown date is on, we're going to change that parameter by clicking on the word is on, and then we get all kinds of other choices. So I'm going to click on between. That's more practical. Again, I can put my dates in here, but it's super clunky. So instead of doing that, because I don't like super clunky, right click, simplify, and so now I'll just do the month of August. Whoop. And I'll just go ahead and preview. So you can see here this E. This indicates that either the markdown was due to a manual edit to price one or due to a price sheet. That's what that means. Okay, so that's markdowns with a price sheet. Let's go back to PowerPoint here. And let's do this. Okay, so hopefully today some of your takeaways, some manual markdown tips to manually edit price one when there's only a handful, or more than a handful, how to create and implement a price sheet, and then of course how to access the historic price sheet and run the markdown report. I always appreciate your feedback and topic suggestions. I am putting together topics for next year, so I am looking for some more suggestions. By Friday or Monday, you're going to get a copy of this recording, and a survey will be attached. It's just a basic, couple of questions. You can remain anonymous, or you can go right out to our website to fill out the survey, www.cksystem.com/training bytes survey. Next month is going to be really fun. On October the 6th, we're going to do Counterpoint tips and tricks, things that you may or may not know about Counterpoint, or maybe learned a long time ago and forgot about them. But I'm going to show you some time-saving shortcuts. I'm also going to talk about auto notes. A lot of people forget about that after day one training. So an auto note is something you can attach to an item, a customer, or vendor that automatically pops up at point of sale when you select that item or customer, or when you select that vendor in purchasing. Also going to talk about the message center. A lot of people overlook the fact that there is a built-in internal email and instant messaging within Counterpoint itself if you care to use it. It's pretty cool. Okay, and of course, if you want one-on-one personalized training, always happy to oblige. Give me a call. Toll-free number 888-476-7911, extension 3 is the training department. 413 is my direct extension, or you can email training@cksystem.com. All right, let's take some questions. Got a couple here in the chat window. Let me minimize this in case I need to get back into Counterpoint. Okay, everyone's saying I can hear you. Hello, yay! Anyone have any questions? And it looks like I don't have any questions. Okay, well, I won't keep you. I know you have better things to do than to stare at your computer screen and listen to me ramble. So I want to thank everybody for their time today. I appreciate it. And I hope to see you in October. Have a great day. Talk to you later.